Okay, first of all, Dr. David, I welcome you back on the show. It's been a while. How are you? What's up?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, and it's always good to be with you. I was overseas. I was in China, and I just got back home about a few days ago. So it's very excited to be with you on the show.
You want to tell us something about China?
Oh my gosh, where do I start, Ali? Literally, and I went the year before, so it looks like I'll be going to China every year. As a matter of fact, I am thinking of teaching
Oh,
at one of the Chinese academic institutions there. It's very interesting to see the development, at least in my opinion, based on what I saw from the year before. And to me, it's a foregone conclusion that China has moved on and is moving forward regarding its economic developments. Uh, it's sitting at the top of the global economic ladder right now. So to us in the US, we're still thinking, oh, China's number two. No, China is not number two. China is number one. They just don't want to come forward and disclose that because Chinese culture is not about, showing up and all that hypes and all that. They don't do that. They move quietly but the progress that I saw, the infrastructure, for example, when I rode the high-speed train between Beijing and Shanghai, for 349 kilometers an hour. So smooth as it can get. So the that tells me right there where the government in China is sort of putting its emphasis on. It's in developing the country so the citizens and everybody looked to me so happy. I walked around the streets and all that. Everybody's so happy because they are content. Their needs are met. Why? Because they trust their government, and the government is doing what it's supposed to do.
it's a whole new China for the international community, especially after the military parade that they did. Amazing weaponry shown.
Oh my gosh, that V-Day parade, and I was in Beijing. Of course, I didn't get in because they closed everything, but it was unbelievable. And to me, the moment I saw the first images, and I knew I had a conversation with someone who's very familiar with China, and I said, I bet you the Chinese gonna exhibit and showcase their weapons. So of course we went back and forth into the argument. No, it's unlikely they will do this because this is about commemorating the defeat of fascism. And I said, no, no, take my word for it. They're gonna showcase because that's the best opportunity for them to send the message to the rest of the world, mainly the collective West. And when I saw the display of, for example, the DF-61 ICBMs, which I found out they have a max of 15,000 kilometers. If you know anything about ICBMs, usually the range from that part of the world to hit or reach the United States is about 11,920 or 11,960 between give or take. The max is 12,000. The Chinese developed one now that one was on display for 15,000 kilometers. I saw also the type of drones they display there, and the fuel tankers, the fighter jets, and the submarine display they had. All this suggests one thing, and that thing is that China now has the capability of a strategic nuclear triad, which means they can use the air, land, and sea. That's what we call in English interoperability, militarily speaking. So they can have all the platform coordinates an operation. It takes a lot to reach that level, and China obviously displayed it, and it was loud and clear message. Let alone the discipline and the precision of the marching. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, Ali, but it was I tell you, it was beyond what I could even imagine. So, and that tells me where China is.
It was a piece of art. the synchronization between soldiers, the way they were entering their vehicles, starting, shutting their doors, down to little small details. It was like amazing. Also, because we are
Indeed.
talking about Chinese weapons, I think they made public their first carrier, Fujian. Did you see that video?
Yes, yes, I
Uh,
read up on it,
yeah.
and that in itself, it's another. That one is subtle message for the Americans, especially with we are what we're trying to do right now in that part of the world, especially in South China Sea, with for example, reopening the old base, the CPEC Bay in Philippines, and all this has to do with by China displaying that aircraft carrier. That just send in a subtle message to the Americans.
And what is that message? How do you see the coming future? Are you
Well,
also,
that
yeah.
that message, Ali, is that we would like to cooperate, but also we are ready to take you on should you decide to go that route. And I am sure, there are still some voices of reason, but they don't have enough power inside Washington that they're going to say to themselves, wait a minute, what are you doing? I mean, look at the delegation that just went to China. Why do you think they went to China? Because we are realizing after the parade, we saw what we saw, and we start to realize, you know what? We better get on dealing with the Chinese by talking to them. By the way, that trip by this delegation from Congress wasn't approved by the American president. American president has no say, but it tells you also where the concern is. And that message that China is sending is, once again, we will be happy to cooperate should you decide to do so. If not, we will be happy to take you on as well. And China is no Ukraine. China is no Iran. China is no Iraq. You know, we better think twice. And China has the means to defeat the United States. I know this for a fact.
Since we are talking about China, let's talk about President Trump talking about having the Bagram Air Base back. He is on record saying that he wants eyes on China's atomic program. That's why he wants the Bagram Air Base back. Because you were in Afghanistan, you know this place like the back of your hands. Your insight on this would be very valuable.
Well, Ali, are you gonna take at a face value what Trump is saying, threatening the Taliban? Are you gonna take the base back? I mean, we haven't learned the lesson from what happened over almost 20 years, and we end up being defeated, let alone the humiliation by which we exited Afghanistan. There is no way. I tell you this as one who spent time on the ground. I used to go to that airbase background. There is no way the Taliban will fight to the end, and they will defeat the Americans. They are not going to give that up because Bagram Air Base is of strategic importance. And the reason, as you alluded to, which is correct, why we wanted to have access to that, it's because we wanted to keep an eye on both China and Pakistan. So let me address the Pakistan side first, then I'll address the China first. First of all, you have to think in terms of why, for example, Imran Khan is in prison right now. You have to think about the old history. And Imran Khan ended up where he ends up because he said no to the Americans. You know, this is why he was convicted. Now, the issue of corruption, whatever, that's up to the judicial entities inside Pakistan. I'm not defending Imran Khan. You know, I'm just presenting the facts, especially for the Pakistani viewers, to understand the ins and outs of the dynamics of the Pakistani government. So when Imran Khan said no to the Americans because we wanted to open a base in Pakistan for the drones, and the drones was for surveillance. And not only, of course, we made the arguments to Imran Khan, oh, because we wanted to fight terrorism. No, 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 no. That playbook ain't gonna do it anymore. It's because if you want to fight the terrorism, what terrorism are you talking about? You get defeated in Afghanistan. So you wanted to have a base in on Pakistani soil so you can maintain controls over Pakistan itself. And Imran Khan said, like, no, I just don't want you here in my country. And it's right. It's his country. It's a sovereign nation. And he's the representative of the people of Pakistan. And he speaks on their behalf. So if he said no, we should respect that. Instead, we coordinated with some corrupted elements inside Pakistan. Let's not sugarcoat this, Ali, because they are. And that's sad that they are dragging Pakistan into a different, the wrong direction instead of serving the Pakistani people. Pakistani people deserve a better representation from their government. And I'm not criticizing just
I've got
the
a
Pakistan.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a question. Then after the ouster of Imran Khan, did they
Yeah.
get the drone base?
No, no, it didn't. It didn't. That's why it didn't work through. It's because it created turmoil inside Pakistan that both the civilian government and the intelligence entities inside Pakistan, especially with the military and the ISI, they say no. This is going to become too much for, and rightly so. It's their country. We should respect it, Imran Khan's decision. And this ties me back to
Yeah.
Bagram Air Base. And this is why all of a sudden you have in now Trump stating the nonsense. It's nonsense to be asking, yet you're going to take Bagram. It's like, what, you own Afghanistan? You don't. You get defeated in a bad way. And the purpose of it also is also understanding the China-Pakistan relations. And we'll touch on this as we talk about the Saudi-Pakistan Defense Pact, because there is something that your audience needs to understand. But suffice it to say for now, is that the idea of we do not want to see Pakistan develop economically. When you think about the Chinese-Pakistan economic corridor, when you think about the role of Afghanistan into the big picture, especially with Afghanistan having massive amount of natural resources under that rugged terrain, the Chinese have the means and the technology to get to it. We don't want that to happen. This is one of the reasons why we are now pushing that narrative. Oh, we want Bagram back. I don't think so. It's going to happen. And as I said earlier, the Taliban will fight for that one to the end.
There is an answer from them. They said that we're not going to give back the Bagram Air Base whatsoever. We had a security analyst, a Pakistani security analyst, on our show last night. He was of the view that Afghanistan's civil officers have not been paid their salaries for a month, and the armed forces have not been paid for 2 months. So he was saying that these things are indicators that things are going south really fast in Afghanistan, and most probably there's going to be a lot of turmoil there. So these are the things that also affect what they are going to say or what they're going to do when Trump asks for Bagram. What do you have to say about that?
It's because the idea of we could bribe them per se, because remember, when the Taliban took over, they trying to sort of change their image on the global stage. Do I agree with what Taliban is doing? No, I don't. But at the same time, it ain't my problem. It's their country. They can decide however they want to rule it. It just, to me, it's always been that argument about the usage of religion. And I'm not a religious guy. It's kind of, I've learned long enough in my life to see where things are. But as far as us dictating the term to them, who are we? Who gives us the right to do so? So the idea of the salaries of the military, yes, this stuff can create tensions inside the country in a moment when it tries to sort of paint its image in a positive way on the global stage. But on the other hand, Afghanistan today is not Afghanistan of 15, 20 years ago. Afghanistan today has some other alternatives. And the other alternatives, it could be Russia or China. They could step in and assist. They're not going to do it for now, till there is some sort of an agreement, because if either country or both, Russia and China, decide to assist Afghanistan, it's not going to be for free. There is nothing free when it comes down to geopolitics. And that's what Afghanistan now has to figure out how it's going to move forward. Will they cut a deal with the Americans? Maybe, maybe not. But the idea of seeing Americans taking over Bagram again, ain't going to happen.